Everyone, this is Ashley with Techie Ellenboss with Sky House Herb School and Apothecary. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we are going to be learning how to make shrubs. And I'm hoping to share a few different drink recipes with you all that will help you this summer to stay cool and hydrated and just to have a different way to utilize your herbs and utilize some of these other really wonderful medicinal products. So what is a shrub, you might be wondering? Well, a shrub is a blend of fruit, herbs, and apple cider vinegar. The health benefits are enormous because you've got all the antioxidants and vitamins and minerals from your fruit. You also have the phytochemicals from your herbs and all of their health benefits and values and their really nice aromatic smells and tastes. And then you have the apple cider vinegar, which is a wonderful aid to digestion, helps with assimilation. It's gently detoxifying and alkalizing to your system. So put those all together and you've got a wonderful, nutritious drink. We also today are going to be using honey as our sweetener. However, you can use any other sweetener of your choice. So you can I like to do brown sugar is actually really nice because it has B vitamins and iron in it. But you could also do plain sugar, agave, whatever sweetener you prefer. Okay, so how do we do this? Beeping refrigerator. Let's close that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do is I'm going to walk you through step by step how to do it. I do have we're going to do sort of a fast forward because I have some shrub that I made last night that's been soaking overnight, which is part of the process. So I'll kind of walk you through the whole thing. If you want to pause this at any moment and jot down notes, you can do that too. All right, so let's start. So the first thing you need is fruit. Now you can use any sort of fruit, but berries work best. So I have blueberries that I'm going to be using today. Strawberries work really well also. Anything that's really juicy, so raspberries, blackberries, service berries, really, I mean, again, most berries, figs would work really well here as well. You could try doing peaches or nectarines that are ripe. Again, think about what's going to be most juicy. And then what you're going to do is you're going to follow a ratio of, you're going to do, I would say 1 or 2 cups of fruit. If you do 2 cups of fruit, it's going to yield about a pint in your total product. So it depends, you're going to have probably somewhere around like 2 or so cups of your final shrub for drinking. But you might not want that much for your first one. So I'm going to give you sort of the half dose so that you'll have about this much of a shrub to start yourself off with. Okay, now what do you do with this shrub, you might be asking? Well, I really like to add shrubs to sparkling water, to tonic water. You can even add it to regular water with a little bit of ice. And it just creates this really refreshing, a little bit sour and a little bit sweet drink. And you can drink them year round, but the summertime is especially nice. So the first thing we need is we need our fruit. The second thing we need is we need our herbs. The third thing we need is some sort of sweetener. And the fourth thing we need is the apple cider vinegar. So those are the only 4 ingredients that you need. Okay, so let's start with the fruit. I'm going to be using blueberries. So these are organic blueberries, which is ideal if you can find organic berries. They do need to be fresh. You could use frozen, but you have to thaw them really well before you start this process. So I'm going to just move my camera down so you guys can see. So I've just got a Pyrex cup here, and I'm measuring out about 1 cup. Okay, so I've got about 1 cup of berries. I'm going to add them to my cafe gratitude bowl that says, what are you grateful for? I am grateful for blueberries and friends. I'm going to add these into my bowl. Now, if you have a potato masher, you can use that. I'm just going to use a fork today because that works just fine. And I found that I have to use 2 hands. And I'm just going to basically mash. I'm going to mash these blueberries. It takes a little while, it's going to take as long as it takes. Strawberries need to be really ripe. So if you find that you have strawberries and they're still a little bit white or they're just not really soft yet, then you have to wait. You're going to have to wait until they become soft and able to be really easily mashed. Otherwise, you're going to be doing this for a while. Okay, so I'm just twisting, I'm turning my bowl around and around, And I'm using my fork and I'm mashing. And if I really want to get in there again, I'm going to use 2 fingers and get them all mashed up. And the reason for this is that we're trying to get all of the juices out because that's what we're going to be extracting. And we really, if we leave any of them whole, they're just not going to extract. We're not going to get all the vitamins and nutrients out. And also with blueberries, a lot of the nutrients are in the skin. So the more I can mash it up, the more I can get those antioxidants out and get that color out, which is going to make for a really nice looking shrub. Because part of making shrubs is enjoying their beauty. Again, here's one that I made. This one is strawberry and basil, and the color doesn't really come out as well, but it's pink. And then this is a strawberry and basil one I made with brown sugar. So the color will change depending on what type of sweetener you use and what type of berry you use. All right, these are looking pretty good. So let me just show you what it looks like. So I've got 1 cup of mashed blueberries. Now I have some fresh mint that I'm going to be using for today's. So I just want to take the mint off the stalk. It does need to be dry. You really don't want any added water to this. So if you do need to wash your herbs, then just pat dry them with a cloth so that you try to absorb as much of the water off of them so that you don't have, you're not adding that into the mix. Now, the ratio of herbs is about half a handful of herbs per 1 cup of your fruit. So, I'm pretty generous. I like the flavor, so I'm going to use about this much. So maybe this is about, if I were to squish it in, it'd probably be like a 1/4 cup, right? But it's, it's a generous half handful. And then I'm going to use a knife and I'm just going to chop it up. So that way I can get the volatile oils to start to come out. Ooh, and it's starting to smell really good in this kitchen. Chop, chop, chop. And, it doesn't have to be super, super fine, but the finer you can get it, again, the more you're going to allow that extraction process to happen, which is going to be really helpful in getting that flavor out. Now, I'm using basil, but I've used rosemary and shrubs, which can taste really good. Any plant in the mint family would be nice, with the exception maybe of catnip, because it has that acrid taste to it that might not be quite as yummy. So here I have my herbs and I have my blueberries, and I'm just going to mix them up together. Hello, come on in. All right. Looks kind of porridgey, which is what I want. Okay, and now I'm going to add my sweetener. And today I'm going to be using honey. And this is a local honey. It's called Bear Honey. And you want to use half a cup for every cup of your sweetener. Now, I'm just going to eyeball it because I've done this before, but if you want to measure it out, you could do about, half a cup of your sweetener, honey, or brown sugar, white sugar, or agave. I don't really love agave, but I know people really like it. And then I get the benefit of getting a little honey in my fingers. I will take that gladly. And now I'm going to mix this up really well. All right, so now it's even more kind of soupy, which is what I want. All right, so you see that? So then what I have to do is I have to let this sit overnight, okay? If you can't let it sit overnight, 8 to 10 hours is probably the minimum. But what you want is you want some heat to kind of cook it down. And also you want to give enough time for those oils in the plants to get extracted out into this solution. So what I have behind me is one that I made last night. Actually, I made it yesterday. So this has probably been steeping about 24 hours. And I'll show you, you can see the difference. So this is mine from 24 hours ago. It's much soupier, and the herbs are like brown, right? They've fermented a little bit. And that's actually one of the other benefits, is you're getting a little bit of fermentation, which is really good for the gut as well. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to take this yellow one, this yellow bowl that I made just now. You want to cover it with some sort of a cloth, a breathable cloth, and I'm going to put that back on my counter. So I'm going to let this one steep overnight now, and I'll add this to the other batch tomorrow. Okay, so here's the one that I made yesterday. And now the next thing I have to do is strain it. So I'm going to go grab my straining cloth and show you how to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same Pyrex that I used to measure, and I'm going to take this. This is just a cloth, like a muslin cloth bag. And you could also use cheesecloth, which is a little finer. So you just have to make sure you don't squeeze too hard and break it. But just any sort of cloth bag, you could use pantyhose if you needed to. Just snip off the foot of pantyhose. And I'm just going to get all that juice into my muslin bag, lift it up now, and I'm just going to use my hand and I'm going to squeeze it. Look at that color. Ooh, it's so pretty. Bright purple. Let me try to not get that on me because that's going to stain. And I'm just going to slowly work the juices out. So this process, you know, it doesn't take that long, but you do have to be a little ginger and start at the bottom, start at the top, and just slowly squeeze your way down. If you try to squeeze it too fast, it's going to spray all over the place. So you have to just think slow and steady. And I can smell the mint, and I can smell the sweetness of the honey. I can smell that little bit of sourness and tartness from the blueberries. So again, I'm just going to work it. I want to get as much juice out as I can so that I can have as much shrub as I can. All right, we're getting there. See it coming out. And I've heard some people have used apples. You know, they've mashed apples. That's, you know, again, they have to be super ripe. I wouldn't recommend using like citrus fruits or things that are just mostly juicy. That's going to be a little harder. However, you could use watermelon. That would be a really nice summer drink. Think about watermelon and mint and maybe some cucumber. That might be a really nice combination. So, you know, the nice thing about these types of herbal, you know, these old herbal recipes is that you can really play with them and just see, you know, what do you have in your garden, on your land? What can you pick up from the grocery store, you know, to make something that you and your family and friends, this is a great thing to bring if you go over to maybe a cookout or, you know, someone's house for a gathering. You know, you can introduce them to this drink, especially if you don't drink alcohol. So if you're, you know, if you're sober for whatever reason, and you still want to be able to drink something fun, you know, you can bring a shrub and some tonic or sparkling water over and make yourself some and make your friends some. And that's a really nice option. So I'm just going to go rinse my hands because they're blueberry-ified. And now we're ready for the second part. And this is super easy. So all you do is you just look at how much you were able to press out and you add equal amounts apple cider vinegar. And I really like Bragg's apple cider vinegar because it has the mother in it. The mother is the active culture that ferments it. So you can see here, I have about half a cup of my, of this honey and herb and fruit mixture. So I'm just going to add half a cup of my apple cider vinegar. And you know, you can, as you're playing with this, you might decide, gosh, I really want it more vinegary, or I really want it a little bit more sweet. And so then you can play with that. But just generally speaking, equal parts is going to be your best option. And that's going to give you the most kind of standard. So I'm just going to pour this in until I get up to that 1 cup mark. Yum, yum. Then I'm going to take this and stir it up. Oh, it smells good. I can really smell that vinegar. And then I like to use old syrup bottles. So this is just the organic syrup bottle that I saved from our kitchen. And I just like the shape of it. I could take off the sticker if I wanted, but today I'm just going to leave it on. And then I love using it, you know, straining it into the Pyrex because I've got now a little spout, so I can just pour it in here. Look at that color. You could probably do elderberry too, do an elderberry shrub. So that's going to fill it just about all the way. I have a little bit extra that I can add right into a drink. And then I'm going to add my cap. And that's it. And then I can just label it. And this would be blueberry peppermint shrub is what I would write in the date. Now these do last for a long time. I keep mine on my counter, and you will start to see some of the sediment drop to the bottom. That's okay. You can just give it a little bit of a shake. But these, the apple cider vinegar is a preservative, so it will keep, 6 months to a year. If it starts to smell like really sour and not like a vinegar, but just kind of a little bit more musty, then throw it out. But most of the time, it's going to last. You're gonna drink it before it goes bad. And then just to give you an example, let me grab a cup, and I'll make myself a shrub. Let's see. I'll do it here. I'm just going to add, I'll show you how much. So I'm going to add, let's just say this is about a cup of water. And then I'm going to add, you can add about 2 tablespoons to about a 1/4 cup of the shrub to whatever it is you're drinking. And again, you've got all those options that you can add it to. But look at this beautiful color. I could add a little bit of ice to it too. It's got this nice purpley pink color. And then let me give it a taste. Ah, so good, so refreshing. So I think I actually want a little bit more. I'm gonna make it a little stronger because I think that was probably about 2 tablespoons, but I like my shrimp strong. So I'm gonna add a little bit more. Give it a little spin. That's it. That's what I like. I like it when it has that sour bite at the end. So that's it, folks. That's how to make a shrub. And let me know if you've ever made one before. Let me know if you have any other combinations that you think might taste good. Maybe I'll try that myself. And then I'll be with you again in another few weeks, and I'll share with you another recipe for another refreshing summer herbal drink. So thanks so much for watching. Share this with a friend if you think they might like it, and definitely share your shrubs at your next gathering. All right, take care, everyone.